The genome data of ancient Egyptian mummies reveals that modern Egyptians have a greater genetic connection with Sub-Saharan Africans. Greetings everyone. Today's video focuses on an intriguing subject, the analysis of ancient Egyptian mummy genome data, which has provided fascinating insights into the genetic ancestry of modern Egyptians. A team of international researchers from the University of Tübingen and the Max Planck Institute for the Science of Human History in Jena conducted a groundbreaking study. They successfully extracted nuclear DNA from mummified remains in Egypt, dispelling previous doubts about DNA preservation. Surprisingly, the research revealed that ancient Egyptians shared genetic similarities with populations in the Levant and Europe, and their genetic makeup remained relatively unchanged over a span of 1,300 years. However, it was also discovered that modern Egyptians possess a higher proportion of Sub-Saharan African ancestry, potentially influenced by historical factors such as trade and migration. Without further delay, let us delve into our discussion on this captivating topic. The study of ancient populations in Egypt holds great promise. With its extensive and meticulously recorded history, as well as its strategic geographical position and numerous exchanges with neighboring populations in Africa, Asia and Europe, Egypt emerges as a vibrant and dynamic region. The advent of new advancements in ancient DNA analysis provides a captivating chance to validate prevailing knowledge of Egyptian history through the examination of genetic data from antiquity. The scarcity of genetic studies conducted on ancient Egyptian mummies can be attributed to challenges related to methodology and contamination. While some of the initial attempts to extract ancient DNA were made from mummified remains, scientists have expressed doubts regarding the reliability of genetic data, particularly nuclear genome data, even if it could be successfully retrieved. Johannes Kraus, the director at the Max Planck Institute for the Science of Human History in Jena and senior author of the study, confirms the need for skepticism when considering the potential preservation of DNA. Factors such as the hot climate in Egypt, high humidity levels in tombs, and certain chemicals used in mummification techniques contribute to DNA degradation, making the long-term survival of DNA in Egyptian mummies highly unlikely. However, the authors of this study have achieved a significant breakthrough by successfully extracting nuclear DNA from these mummies and validating its authenticity through robust authentication methods. This achievement paves the way for further direct examination of mummified remains. In order to examine the genetic variation and population consistency spanning 1,300 years, a group of international researchers from esteemed institutions including the University of Tübingen, the Max Planck Institute for the Science of Human History in Jena, the University of Cambridge, the Polish Academy of Sciences, and the Berlin Society of Anthropology, Ethnology and Prehistory conducted a comprehensive study. The team analysed the genetic profiles of 151 mummified individuals from the archaeological site of Abu Sir el-Melek, located along the Nile River in Middle Egypt. These samples were obtained from two anthropological collections, specifically the University of Tübingen and the Felix von Luschen Skull Collection at the Museum of Prehistory of the Staatliche Museen zu Berlin, Stiftung Preußischer Kulturbesitz. To gain a comparative perspective, the researchers also examined the genetic makeup of modern populations. A total of 90 individuals had their mitochondrial genomes recovered by the authors, along with genome-wide datasets from 3 individuals. By analysing this data, the authors were able to test hypotheses derived from archaeological and historical data, as well as modern DNA studies. Our main focus was to examine the genetic composition of the ancient inhabitants of Abu Sir el-Melek, stated Alexander Peltzer, a lead author of the study from the University of Tübingen. The goal of the study was to determine if these ancient populations were genetically influenced by foreign conquest and domination during the time period being studied. To do this, the populations were compared to modern Egyptian populations. Verena Schönemann, another lead author from the University of Tübingen, explained, "We aim to investigate whether the genetic legacy of Alexander the Great's conquest and other foreign powers can be observed in the ancient Egyptian population. The results of the study revealed that ancient Egyptians were most closely related to populations in the Levant, as well as Neolithic populations from the Anatolian Peninsula and Europe. According to Wolfgang Hack, a group leader at the Max Planck Institute for the Science of Human History in Jena, our study of the Abusir El Melek community reveals that there were no significant genetic changes over the course of 1,300 years. This suggests that the population remained relatively unaffected by foreign conquest and rule. Interestingly, the data shows that modern Egyptians have approximately 8% more genetic similarity with Sub-Saharan African populations on the nuclear level than with ancient Egyptians. Stefan Schiffels, another group leader at the Max Planck Institute, explains that this indicates an increase in gene flow from Sub-Saharan Africa into Egypt within the last 1,500 years. There are several possible factors that could have contributed to this, such as improved mobility along the Nile River, increased long-distance trade between Sub-Saharan Africa and Egypt, and the trans-Saharan slave trade that began around 1,300 years ago. Previous doubts regarding the feasibility of extracting dependable ancient DNA from Egyptian mummies are effectively refuted by this research. Despite the challenges posed by climate conditions and the mummification process, the authors successfully employed advanced DNA sequencing techniques and rigorous authentication methods to validate the authenticity and integrity of the data. Consequently, this study unequivocally demonstrates the reliability of Egyptian mummies as a valuable reservoir of ancient DNA, offering invaluable insights into the historical demographics of Egypt. To support our channel's growth and ensure broader awareness, kindly hit the like and subscribe buttons. This will help us reach more individuals and disseminate valuable information. Thank you in advance.